Those of you who spend time on your hands training movements such as handstands, push-ups, and other exercises should definitely be doing targeted work for the wrist joint. This video will cover the most important drills to build strong, resilient wrists. This way you can enjoy your training pain-free and reduce your risk of any unnecessary wrist injuries. Hey everyone, Daniel Vadnal for Fitness FAQs. This first section we're going to cover mobility exercises which take the wrist through the most important ranges of motion for bodyweight training. To start with, let's cover wrist flexion. In a kneeling position, load up the back of your palms with the elbows kept straight. Rotate the elbow pits forward and rock slowly back and forth while keeping the back of the palm in contact with the ground. Although this position looks uncomfortable, over time your wrist extensors will loosen up and the wrist joint will be able to tolerate this position, no worries at all. Starting with this mobility position will allow the wrist to free up nicely for the next mobility drills. Now we'll move on to improving wrist extension. A decent amount of movement into extension is needed for pain-free push-ups, planche work, and handstands. Have the hands facing directly forwards and rock slowly back and forth with straight elbows. Go as far as you can until the heel of the palm begins to barely hover off the ground. This is your end range of motion. A slight variation is to have the thumbs facing forwards. We're still working wrist extension, but in a different angle. One key point here is to face the elbow pits forward when you lean. This is external rotation of the shoulder and is nice for opening up the front of the wrist. Really concentrate on moving to the limit of your wrist range every single rep with a mini pause at the end. Facing the fingers backwards towards the knees is just glorious for lengthening the wrist flexors and also encouraging more wrist extension. Notice the speed of the movement, palms flat and a mini pause in the deepest stretch position. These might be some movements at the wrist you're unfamiliar with, but I'll clear it up for you now. When the wrist moves towards the bicep, it's called radial deviation. When the wrist moves towards the pointy part of the elbow, it's called ulnar deviation. When you're doing your deviation rocks, definitely start with a pad underneath the hands. Rock backwards a quarter of the way and then lean as far forward as you can handle. As the set progresses and over time with repeat exposure, the amount you're going to be able to lean is going to increase. All of the wrist mobility positions can be progressed into a push-up to make things harder. You need to remember that our training is hard with a ton of weight going through the wrists with exercises like handstands. Therefore, we absolutely must increase the load going through the wrist in our conditioning to future-proof our body against injury. All the same cues apply from the kneeling variations. Keep those elbows straight, using a full range of motion with a mindful tempo to promote permanent adaptations. If you're serious about strengthening the wrist joint, I highly recommend including some of these wrist and finger push-ups into your rehab routine. Let's start off with fingertip push-ups. Get into a kneeling position and keep the fingers extended straight during your set. Obviously the push-up isn't the challenge, it's keeping those fingers as straight as can be. For some of you this will be enough intensity, you can spend time practicing this before you progress. For others, it's going to be too easy and I'll give you an option to make it harder. You probably already know where we're going here. Do these bad boys in a push-up position and embrace that finger fatigue. Fingertip push-ups are phenomenal for strengthening the forearm and hand muscles, which have a stabilization role at the wrist. More wrist stability will mean your supporting muscles will now be able to offload the wrist in exercise that you care about. Less pain, less chance of injury, and more comfort. This is another one of those proceed with caution and be sensible type of exercises, back of palm push-ups. Simply starting in a kneeling position and using a small range of motion will be plenty for most people new to wrist conditioning. At the top of these push-ups, make sure to turn those elbow pits forward to get a full stretch and gapping at the wrist. Over time, this movement will become comfortable, and to continue bulletproofing the wrist, a gradual increase in difficulty is a must. Back of palm push-ups are a safe and effective exercise, only with gradual exposure in terms of range of motion and load. For those watching who want a pain-free, comfortable and strong false grip, this right here is one piece of the puzzle. With all the mobility and push-up variations in this video so far, train to fatigue and not to pain. Guys and girls, remember that the body takes time to adapt. You need to be consistent and patient with your training. Before you know it, you'll be really comfortable in all of these positions. The last reminder I want to leave you with is the reason most people don't progress with their wrist training. Mindlessly going through the motions without genuinely going as far as possible is really common to see. Doing 100 like this, where you're going fast with bad form, no mindfulness, isn't as efficient or effective as a handful done properly, like I showed you earlier in this video. Thanks for watching everyone. Leave a thumbs up on this video to show me some love, and make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube page so you never miss a new video. If you want to learn how to master your body and also build muscle, go to fitnessfaqs.tv and download our bodyweight training programs.